Hello, family members. Happy my birthday to you. Yeah, it's my birthday. I'm 42. You're free to comment how you can't believe how I could possibly be this old when I'm so radiant. Or just give me a like or subscribe. That would be great. Oh, thanks, Kimmy. Kim? Kim? Maybe don't lick yourself while Mama's trying to make a video? Anyway. My dear family members, I have one extraordinarily important topic that I'd like to talk with you today, and it is straight passing privilege, which is always a hot topic, especially in ace communities, because, if you don't, especially if you're aromantic, if you're not having any sorts of relationships, then oh, well, you're not going to be oppressed for your identity, right? Wrong. But it's not just something that ace people have to fight against. I was talking to my girlfriend about wanting to make this video, and she was like, yeah, as a bisexual polyamorous woman, I get people assuming all the time that I'm straight because I used to be married to a man. Or as soon as I get into a relationship with a woman, they assume that it's going to be like a triad with my husband and not, just a woman-woman relationship. And yeah, I could see where that would be pretty frustrating. So, at any rate, uh, poly people certainly can have that if they're dating someone that's, only dating one single person. Polyam people, pansexual people, if they're dating someone same sex. NB people can have that problem if they present either masc or femme, or people think they present masc or femme. It's just about the assumptions that we make about people. Growing up, I always watched things where the default character was... Don't get angry because I use the word default. It's fine. Was male, heterosexual, white, often blonde hair, blue eyes, often straight hair. Give me a minute. You done? She assures me she's done. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's just all the default things that, if a character isn't specified otherwise, if you're, say, reading a book or a screenplay or anything, it has to be stated that they're not male, white, heterosexual, allosexual, alloromantic, monogamous, all of the things that are variables and don't apply to all humans. And it's really interesting to see how people would misunderstand and think that someone assuming something about you is more conventional than it is not like a privilege. It's number one, it's erasing your identity. So it means that, like, for example, when I was working, we would have, the normal, like, team meetings. Every time you have a new team, you'd have to do icebreakers, and people wanted to know about your family and your background. And every time I had to decide if I was going to out myself as, who I was, or just kind of gloss it over and let people assume what they wanted to assume. And that's a tough decision to make in a professional environment, like, you don't always know what people are going to think, and you don't necessarily want to have to deal with People, especially who may have power over your career, you know, having some reason to discriminate against you. But opting out doesn't feel right either, So you're left in this awkward position over and over again, basically with every new person, every new colleague you meet, where you have to make that decision again and again and again to come out. And that's frustrating. Like that's honestly, it's so wearing to have to deal with that kind of frustration. And Katie just came out with the cat. Was she bothering you? Do I need to take another break? Hang on a second. So, the cat was eating the other cat's food and it had to be dealt with. Okay, all right, I'm back. And stop licking me. Ah, dogs. Anyway, the reason why I had been thinking about straight privilege is because the street passing privilege, we have to always say it like that, is because during one of my many rewatches of one of my new favorite comfort videos, which is the hbomb plagiarism video, I was thinking about how the first time I watched it, I was so surprised when he described himself as an open bisexual man. And I was like, wait, open bisexual man? I did not know that. And, I did some more research into the, confirmation of that. And the thing is, I've watched a lot of his videos, probably not all of those videos by a long shot because he's got a long career, but especially the more recent, well-researched, highly edited videos. Some of them have become comfort videos for me, and I've watched them a lot of times. And I never knew that about him, And I mean, he never said anything really about sexuality that would lead me to believe one way or another. I mean, it seemed like there was an interest in women, but, I never pick up on any interest in anyone else. And I just assumed. And kind of was like, oh, I did it. I erased his identity. No. But that's because when he's been open about it, it's been in other contexts. With YouTube, there can be a lot of metatextual information that is out about a person that is not present on their YouTube channel. You can watch every single one of their videos and there'd be details of your life that you wouldn't know about necessarily, that could be extremely well-known details. It would depend on how much they like to talk about their own personal lives. Before Lindsay Ellis got chased off YouTube onto Nebula, there wasn't a whole lot about her personal life in her videos other than the mask off video that I don't believe is on YouTube anymore. But, what a creator chooses to share about themselves may be very limited. And if they only share it in certain videos, then it can be easy to miss. So I was already kind of sitting with this oh no, can't believe I did that. And then I realized that Izzzyzzz is non-binary and uses they as their primary pronoun, and I'd always just called them she, and I'd assumed. And I was just like, if it's this easy for me to do this, if it's this easy for me to accidentally erase people's identity, even though I'm very aware of micro labels and different identities, how hard is it going to be for us to deprogram all of society to stop making these assumptions, you know? Like a lot of the times that there's problems that we deal with as a queer community that we actually struggle with internally as well. You know, internalized homophobia that gay people experience, internalized transphobia that trans people experience, you know, internalized ace phobia that ace people experience. We have the same biases built into us as people who are not part of the queer community. And so things that we don't examine about the other identities, especially in our community, we have to be cognizant of that. We have to first break those assumptions in ourselves, and we have to stop even considering the idea that certain parts of the queer community have some sort of privilege because they can pass for cis or straight or, you know, gender binary or whatever, you know, like it's just it's an awful thing in practice to have to deal with. It puts a pressure on you in practice that you have to deal with. It's a microaggression. That's what microaggressions are. You know, they're not people being mean or aggressive or unkind on purpose, but they're being thoughtless, and it causes a thousand little cuts. You know, my brother's wife is black, and my brother looks like me basically, but taller and male, and thinner. And when her last baby was born, her mother was in the room with her, just the two of them and the baby. And a nurse came in and said, "Oh, what does that baby's father look like?" Because she was awfully pale. And my sister-in-law's mother was like, "Her father's white," which I think is like the perfect response. But like everyone that hears that story is just so horrified at what that nurse said. And she was just being thoughtless, you know? Like, you don't talk about a mixed race baby's skin tone. What? But she just wasn't thinking, you know? So, I guess I want us all to think a little bit more and to kind of support other parts of our community and other minorities, because intersectionality is so important. You know, I'm, you know, aegosexual, I'm aromantic, I'm partially deaf, I am chronically ill, chronically depressed, you know, I'm unable to work, I'm overweight, you know, obese. I'm a lot of things, you know, besides a woman in this world, you know. And I don't stop being any of those things when I advocate for one part of my one community that I'm part of. When I went to the Women's March, I brought a sign talking about my aromanticism because I am an aromantic woman. And so that's part of the experience of being a woman, right? So I have to watch this back and see if it makes any sense with all the like uh interruptions. But if this video makes it on YouTube, then I must have decided it was good enough. In which case, I wish you well. Happy New Year. I'll show you these snooze and barrettes. Now they're good, right, Kim? Dogs. Anyway, Auntie loves you. Take care. Bye.